in this case, they want to style H1. So it is a selector. You have to select what you want to style. So the selector here is H1. That means you want to select H1. Since what we've been writing, H1 has always been black and bold. That is what it is. But now we want to change the H1 to a different color. We want to change it to a color blue. So the selector here is the H1. You select it, and then you have the declaration. Inside the declaration, there are two properties. There are two elements. There is the property element and there is the value element. So I said we want to change H1 to blue. So you have to write it there that, you want to change.
Your screen.
You can't see it. And then you have to let me stop.
Yes, your screen is frozen.
It's frozen. All right, let me
Your
stop it.
screen is frozen.
So I said yes, I heard you. So you have to write together. You want
hey.
You can't see.
Somebody just came.
All right, Director. Director.
He's phone with him.
Director. Director. Oh my God. Mrs. Olufunke.
Yes, okay, am I disturbing? I'm so sorry.
Yes, we can hear the noise. Thank you. Okay, so can you guys see my screen now? Can you guys see my screen now?
Are you calling me?
No,
no, ma.
No, ma.
You cannot see it. Okay, hold on. Let me.
I can't see it.
Okay, so you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys are okay. Let me share my screen again. Okay, can you guys see the screen now?
It's still loading.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, it's loading. Okay.
Yes.
So let me know if it has come on so I can continue.
No, it has not.
It has not come on.
Yes, Maya.
Oh my God, let me do it again. I wish choose my network because I doubt it.
I can see your screen.
Okay, can you guys see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody can see it now, right? Please let me know before I continue.
I can't see. Starting to finish. It's starting
Is what?
to sharing. It's saying that Tongan has started screen sharing.
Ma, it's loading. Ma, it's loading. It's loading. Please,
So, no,
I think you like to unshare and share again.
I've done that several times. Let me do it again.
Who is that then?
Okay, so what about now?
Oh, yeah. My description that someone has started screen sharing, but I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, let's just give it a minute, maybe to load.
Okay. Oh.
It's still not showing.
I can't see it.
Iramide, you can see my screen.
Yes.
What's on my screen?
Sorry, I'm here to disturb you
I
quickly.
tried
Dara, Bukumi,
School.
Iremide, you have not sent me your pictures. I'm going to put blank in your faces when I'm going to post it. Send me in your
Ma, I showed you my
Send me your
picture
pictures.
yesterday. I showed you my picture yesterday.
Okay. So you guys are still not seeing it.
I'm seeing W3 School's website.
Okay. So it's only Iramide that can see it.
Can't see anything.
You sure this is not your network? Let me restart again. Okay, so let me try again. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So let me know if you're seeing it this time. Can you guys see it?
No.
Oh my god. I don't know what to do. Because this cannot be me. Iramide, can you see my screen?
I can't see your screen neither.
What's going on?
I can't see. What are you trying to share?
She shared
W3
to
school.
share the
Okay, which page?
website.
Which
CSS page.
CSS? Okay, let me try and see.
Okay. Iramide, can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes. It's still
I
showing
don't think you can.
the CSS W3 website.
Is director sharing her screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
You can see my
I
screen.
can.
Yes, I can see your screen, ma.
Oh, so the problem is me.
Okay, do you want to go log out quickly and come back in?
Let me do that. Let me do that, yes.
Let
me take a good picture. Okay, let me just reload again.
Are you back?
Yes, ma. Do I need to leave? I just restarted it. Yeah, I should. Let me go and find them.
We still can see your screen.
Okay.
So, I mean, somebody
I
can
have to
volunteer.
relinquish the host to you.
Yes.
Before I can
Okay, go ahead.
I can leave.
You finish, go out and come back in. If not, then somebody, let me see. Bukumi, can you share your screen?
Okay.
So, I mean, somebody
I have to relinquish the host to you.
So your screen sharing is clear. I can see it. You can share. Somebody can share.
I'm sharing my screen.
Your screen sharing is clear. Bukumi, share your screen. Thank you. Let's see. So how you're back. Let's give it a try now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, ma. You can hear you.
Okay. Why are you sharing your screen? So please tell me if you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma, I can see your screen.
All right, thank God. Okay. So as I was saying, we were talking about CSS. All right, yeah. We're talking about the CSS syntax, and like I said, CSS is used to design HTML. Okay, if you want it to look fine, if you want it to have colors, if you want the write-up to have a certain size, maybe you want to use H1 or H2, but the H2 is too big and you want to reduce the fonts, you want to reduce the size. We use CSS for all of that. Now, a CSS syntax consists of the CSS selector. This is a CSS selector. H1 is the selector here. You're selecting H1 because you want to design H1. As you can see here, they want to make the color of H1 blue, and they want to make the font size 12px. So H1 is the selector. This color colon blue is called a declaration. And inside the declaration, you have a property and you have a value. The property is color. That's the property that you want to change. You want to change the color. The value of that color is blue. Do you understand that? Do you guys understand that? Hello?
Yes, ma.
You are talking. Do you understand what I said? Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma.
That is it. The selector points to the HTML element you want to style. The declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons. As you can see, they are all separated by semicolons. Each declaration must include a CSS property name and a value separated by a colon. So if you're going to use CSS, there has to be a selector, which is either it could be H1, it could be paragraph, it could be your image, it could be your the background of your page, it could be anything that you want to select. There must be a selector. You must select something to design. So each declaration must also include a CSS property name. What do you want to change? Do you want to change the color? Do you want to change the font size? Do you want to change the width? Do you want to change the height? Those are all properties. I know, and the corresponding values for those properties are called values. Do you want to make it blue? Blue is the value. Do you want to make it 12px? 12px is the value. Do you want to make the height 320? 320 is the value. So multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolons, and declaration blocks are surrounded by coily brackets. These brackets I told you about. I told you guys up. Let me expand my screen. So this bracket I told you about, you guys already used to this bracket anyway. So these are the brackets. Unlike CSS, we use the greater than and less than brackets. In HTML, we use the greater than and the less than brackets. In CSS, we use majorly these coily brackets. And as you can see, if you write your color, then you have to put a colon, and then you write the value of that color, and you end it with a semicolon. Then you go to the next one. If you don't write it like this, you won't get the desired results. So you must write it like this to get your desired results. Okay, so I said that. So let's move to the next page. Let's talk more about CSS selectors. A CSS selector selects the HTML element you want to style. I've said that. You can divide CSS selectors into 5 categories. 5 categories. You have simple selectors. Simple selectors are you select any elements based on name or ID or class. Now we're still going to talk about classes eventually. I'm hoping so. We're still going to talk about
classes.
I know that you know, my dear. I know that you know. So sometimes it could be name, sometimes it could be ID. ID and classes are kind of similar, but we'll get there. You also have combinator selectors. Select elements based on specific relationship between them. You have pseudo class selectors. Select element based on a certain state. So you have pseudo element selectors. We will still discuss all this in detail somewhere down the class. Just listen. Just know that there are 5 categories of selectors. You have simple selectors, combinator selectors, pseudo class selectors, pseudo element selectors, and attribute selectors. Let me see if we're discussing on this page. Okay, yes, we're going to talk about it right now. So let's go to the CSS element selector, where the select element based on the element name or the simple selector. So let me show you guys. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys can see. Okay, no problem. So you already know. You already know how to write this, right? This is a paragraph, right? Now this here is a paragraph, right? What's inside the paragraph? Every paragraph will be affected now.
Ma,
Please mute your mic because I hear you talking. You come and tell me to explain it later. You are not listening now, you are talking. Okay. So I was saying, we already know what a paragraph is. So now here we have a paragraph telling us that every paragraph will be affected.
My screen is frozen.
Ma, can I see your screen? Ma, you're showing Zoom.
Ma, can I see your screen? Your screen is frozen.
Hold on. Yes, I know. I'm working on it. I'm just today. What about now? Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my screen is not coming on, right?
Yes. Yes. No. Coming on.
Okay, it should be on now.
It's
You should be able to see it now.
In the W3S school Wi-Fi.
Yes, ma'am, I can see it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as I was saying, now this is a paragraph. This is a paragraph right here. And what did they, okay, they said every paragraph will be affected by this style. So they've put a style there, and I will quickly explain this style to you guys. This is another paragraph down here. Let me explain what classes is quickly if I can. This is another paragraph right here, right? And you can see something called ID. You know, they just put it after. Let me write it for you guys. So they just did ID is equal to para1. So what ID does for you is that maybe sometimes you want to select an element to style, right? Maybe you want to do that and you don't want to use selectors, you don't want to use H1 or paragraph, you don't, because here they used paragraph, right? Here they used paragraph. So okay, I can even take that out. So maybe you don't want to use paragraph, maybe you want to use your ID. ID is equal to para1. You can decide to select IDs equals to para1, and I will show you how right now. But first of all, let us look at how they style this. So now in the CSS, anything you see inside this style bracket, anything you see inside style, you can see the opening class, the opening tag and the closing tag of the style. Anything you see in between the style elements is CSS. Is that clear? Anything you see inside here is CSS. So now, what did they select? They selected the paragraph, right? They selected the paragraph and they opened their curly brackets. So what is the property that they want to change? Text align. They want the text align to be centered. What does text align mean? Text align mean, how do you want it to be aligned? Do you want it to be aligned to the right, or do you want it to align to the left, or do you want it to align to the center? And I would show you what left, right, center mean right now. So they also said they want to make the color of the paragraph red, which is why it is red. So let us see how this styling now looks like when you run it on your VS Code. How does it look like? It looks like this. You see, the paragraph is in the middle because they say they want it to be centered. So the paragraph is centered. Oh, there are other write-ups there. I didn't see it. Hold on. Okay, yeah, so you can see there are 3 paragraphs there. Let me remove this para ID first so that you guys will not get confused. Let me remove that. So there are 3 paragraphs. There are 3 paragraphs, and every paragraph will be affected by this CSS. So because you have selected P, any paragraph at all, any text that you write with a P will appear in the center. Now, if I said I want my text aligned to be right, let me put right so that you guys will see what it really does. Right. Sorry. I want my text aligned to be right. I want my color to be blue. To be blue. Okay, so let me run this now. You see, it has moved to the right. It has moved to the right of the page and it has become blue. Let's assume I want it to be on the left. Let's say I want it to be on the left. And I want this to be green. But let me leave it at red again. Let's say I want it to be red. And I run it. See, it has come to the right. Before it was in the center. When we left it as the center, then when we put it at the right, it came to the right, and now it's on the left. So what you should know is that if I put any paragraph here, it will definitely take this styling. Even if I've added it before. Okay, right now I have already done the styling. Let me add another paragraph. You will see that it will still take the style of the CSS. So let me say my name is Inyolua. You see, now my name is Inyolua. If I run this, see, My name is Inolua, we still take it. If I take this and say, let me make it center. Let me make it center. And let me make this blue. If I run it, you see everything, all the paragraph will follow this particular one. Now, if I want to do it that, okay, I only want, let me see if they still talked about that. Okay, yes, they talked about it here. But do you understand this? Do you guys understand this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's go to the next one. So that's that about, I think that is a simple selector. Let's call it a simple selector. So now let's do the CSS ID selector, where you will use an ID. Now, sometimes maybe I am writing a poem and I don't want to use H1 or H2. I want to use paragraph. You understand? Or maybe I want to write, you can see here, hello world is looking like a heading, and then there's a paragraph under it. So let's assume that this is how I want to do it. Remember that if I use P, let me make this bigger. If I should use P here, let me cut this. If I should use P here, remember that everything will turn to the center because we are using P. Everything will turn to the, let me run this. You see, everything will become in the center, and this one too would also be red. But we don't want our paragraph, we don't want this one to be red, and we don't want it to be in the center. We want to put it here. We want to put it at the left, not in the middle. So how do we do it? That is where ID come in. We use things that we use something called an ID. So let me put this back. We use something called an ID. So how do you use an ID? Now this, sorry. So like I said, the one that we want to put in the middle, the only one we want to design actually is the hello world. This particular paragraph is the only thing that we want to design. We don't want other paragraphs to be affected. But if we use P, other paragraphs will be affected. So what do? We use an ID. So you just come, this is the paragraph we want to use, right? So you come to the opening tag of the paragraph here. You come to the opening tag, you put a space. ID, identity, or identify. We'll use it to identify the paragraph that we want to design, or we want to change the style. So you say ID is equal to para1. You can name this anything you want to name it. You can name it anything you want. For instance, let's say I want to say ID is equals to Ore. ID is equals to Oreolua. But I won't advise you to use your name. You can use any generic name you want to use. Let's just say ID is equals to para here. Let me use the word para. Do you see that? Now we've added an ID to it. So what we will now do is that we will take this particular ID and then design it so that other paragraphs will not be affected, which is why, okay, they use para1 here. Let me put the one. They used para1 here. So you will now come to your style. When we did it for just the paragraph, all we did was we just did P, right? But here, you are going to have to use the pound sign to select your ID. If you don't put the pound sign, the ID will not be selected in CSS. So it's like a rule. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. So it's like a rule. You must put this sign, this particular sign. I'm sure you guys see it on your laptop. Let me make this bigger. So you put this sign, and then you put the name of the ID that you chose. The ID that we chose was para1. So you don't have to put the quotation mark when you're trying to style it. You just write the name of the ID that you have chosen. Do you see it? Pound sign, then para1. So now So now when we try to do it with P, everything was affected. But now that we have selected only this para ID, so what that means is that only this P where the para ID is, only that paragraph will be designed. So let us see it. You see, only this one remained red and only it remained centered. The other paragraph was not affected, despite the fact that they are both using the P paragraph. That is because we didn't select the P paragraph. We selected an ID, or we selected an identity that we had already put in the first paragraph, so that the browser knows that, oh, it is only this paragraph where PRA1 is, where para1 is. That's the only thing I want to change. That's what you mean. That's what you do when you use a pound sign and you use your ID class. You are telling the browser that it is only the elements with this ID that I want to design. You can decide to change this to, let's say, change it to left, and make the color blue. Let's make the color green, and you do it like this. See, it has come to the left and it is still green. You can leave it at green and say, okay, I want it to be green and to be in the center, and you run it. See, it is green. It won't affect this one. But if you use the P element, it's going to affect both of them. So I hope this is clear. If you use the P element, it's going to affect both of them. So I hope this is clear. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
understand? Do you understand? Thank you.
Yes, ma.
I understand.
All right, very good. Very good. So that is the ID class selector. So what you should know is that an ID name cannot start with a number. You can, like I said, you can name your ID anything. For instance, now let's assume I want to name this Oreolua. Just make sure it's a name that you can remember, or a name that you like, or a name that makes sense. Oreolua. Oh, I didn't put the pound sign. See, if I don't put the pound sign, this is Oreolua, right? If I don't put the pound sign, it won't work. I said I wanted it to be green and center. You see, it is just black and it's not even in the center. But if I put the pound sign here, which is why it's important to include the pound sign, I put the pound sign there and I run it. You see, it now becomes center and green, just like I asked it here. Easy and simple. But it cannot start with a number. You cannot say 1 or Oreolua. This will not work. You can put the number behind. You can put the number in the middle. But a number cannot start it. The number cannot be the starting. So that's what you should know. So now let's do the CSS class selector. That's an ID selector we just did. Now let's do an ID selector. Okay. So now we have done ID. Class is almost the same as ID. It's the same thing. But the difference is that you can only use ID once. For instance, now that I put this ID here, if I'm going to, sorry. Okay. If I put another ID here, maybe I want this paragraph to have another kind of styling. Maybe I made this one hello world. I made it hello world. What's it called? Hello world middle. And now maybe I want to make this one red, or let's say I want to make this particular paragraph, I want to make it red, and then I want it to be at the left side, not at the right side. Just like you see, this get your own website is on the left, is on the right side here. Do you understand? So maybe I want to move it there, or I want to move it in the center, but I don't want it to be green. I want it to be red. I cannot use another ID to do that. So that's where classes come in. Let's talk about classes. You can see I'm using class center here, class center here. Do you understand? Yes.
But before classes, aren't we not supposed to go to links before class?
What links?
HTML links.
We have
HTML
done
link
it.
to
We did
CSS.
HTML links last week. Were you not in the class?
I was.
Exactly. So why am I going back to HTML link? Just pay attention and listen. So let's talk classes, like I was saying. So what we use instead of ID when we want to design multiple things, we use classes. Do you understand? So now maybe you already have a set style that you want to use. You get, maybe for instance, you can, for like here, I'm trying to look for the best possible way to explain this. Like here, they already have their property and their value property for this center class. So they want the center class to be text aligned center and they want the color to be red. Do you understand? So that is already a style on its own. So all they just need to do is to add this class equals to center here, and the element will automatically take whatever style is inside the center. Do you understand? Like you can see the way they did it here. They put H1 class center, they put paragraph class center. So let's assume I want to now write a bunch of things here. Maybe I now wrote a bunch of things. Let me say I used H2 here, H2. And I say, okay, H2, um, learning CSS, right? And I close the H2. Close the H2. I close the H2, right? So I now write a couple of things about CSS inside the paragraph. I'm just showing you guys an example. So I write a couple of things about CSS in the paragraph. Let me go and find something to write. Let me find something to write. So I write all of this. CSS is a language. Let me copy it and go and write it. Copy. I write this. Let me run this. Let me leave spaces so that you guys will see.
Mo, this example that you're showing us is an example of what type of CSS?
It's still what's it called? It's class selectors. It's called class selectors.
Okay.
We are selecting classes. We are not selecting HTML elements. We are selecting classes now. So look at this thing I wrote now. So I wrote a heading. I wrote about learning about CSS, right? You can see it here. And so maybe I have a subheading. I have a subheading. The subheading is H3, and I say class selectors are under CSS H3, right? And I run this. So this is a class selector, and then I want to add some other. Let me just copy this paragraph and put it. Oh, hold on, so I don't confuse you guys. Okay. Let me copy this. Let's assume we're talking about CSS menus. So I've written another. Okay, sorry, I didn't put a paragraph. I just want to show you guys how classes work. All right, so let's run this. So now you can see this, right? Now let's assume I want this class selector here. I want it to take the style of this. I want it to be red and centered aligned. Do you understand? I want it to be here in the middle, just like a heading. And then I also want it to be red. Now, instead of going to say H3 is equal to text align and whatever, I can just add a class, I can just add a class. I add a class is equal to center. Center is the name of the class. So I've taken that right. If I do this, since I already have center in my H, let me open this. So now, since I already have center design, the design for center, anywhere I use center, it means I want it to be centered and to be red. So since I already have center here, when I run this code, you will see that it will just automatically become.
Your screen.
You guys can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you stop seeing the screen? So why didn't anybody talk? So hold on, let me do it again. Okay, Dara, that works well. So let me stop and share my screen again. I don't know what is going on. So hold on, you should be able to see my screen now. So what about now?
Break.
I'm seeing it.
Okay, can you see my screen, Remide?
Yes.
You will soon go on break. Hold on. You will soon go on break. All right. So this is it. So as I was telling you guys that, okay, so I've written something. I wrote let me still make this H2 so that you see that it doesn't change anything. Let me make this H2. You see, so let me run this. No, I've put this. Let's assume I have a write-up like this. You can see I wrote a heading here, wrote a text, wrote heading, wrote another text. Now, I want these class selectors, I want it to be text aligned. I want it to be in the middle, and I want the color to be red, just like the way these ones here are. Do you understand? So now, this is my write-up. This is where the H2 is, class selectors. That's where it is. Now, I want that to be text aligned. Do you understand? So what I need to go do, instead of going to the style and write H2 text align, or let's assume I want both learning CSS and class selector, and this is why class selectors are better, because now I want learning CSS and learning class selectors. I want them to be in the middle because these are my heading. I want them to be in the middle because they are both headings. And I also want I want all my headings to have one particular style. Let me put it that way. You want all your headings to have one particular style. For instance, I want all my headings to be red and I want them to be in the middle. And then I want all the paragraphs I'm writing, I want them to be blue. Now, instead of going to choose H2, instead of going here and saying H2 should be equal to open bracket and be doing all that, no. Because sometimes you might not use H all the time for your heading. For instance, we have one heading here that is H1. Now this one is H2. This heading here is H2. I want to make this heading here is H2. This one, okay, let me make this one H3 instead. So this one is H3. And I want all my headings to be the same. Instead of going to write H1 middle and center, H2 middle and center, H3, instead of doing all that, you just find a class and make that class the style that you want your heading to be. So me, I want the style of my heading to be.
I see what you're doing. It's like your screen is frozen.
I really do not know.
But
what
I'm
is happening. Hold on. Please hold on. I don't know what is happening today. Sorry. You can't see my screen, right? Hold on, I'm trying to share my screen. Oh, okay. So I think it's because of my battery. Give me a minute. Let me just plug in my battery. Let me on the gen and plug in my battery. My battery is trying to save power, so it's freezing everything I'm doing. So please hold on. Give me like this is everybody come back at 2:20. Let's take a 5 minutes break. I'll see you guys at 2:20.
No, please. Why 5 minutes break?
Okay, so just wait for me to on my generator and plug in my system so it doesn't die and so that it won't be freezing. So just wait.
Okay.
Irun, what happened? EX is not in
Okay,
class
I'm here.
today. Why? Hello? Irun,
She's not there.
Irun, can you hear me?
Yes.
What happened to you, EX?
What happened to me in
EX is not in class today. Why?
what?
EX is not in class. Where is she?
Her laptop is not doing well, so she's joining me.
Oh, so she's next to you there.
Yes.
Can you hear me? EX, say hello.
Hello.
EX. Okay.
That's not it.
EX, remember to send your picture.
Okay, ma.
Bukumi, I've said it again.
Yes, ma'am.
Iremide, I have received that of me and Ore. EX, say hello.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen now? Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, ma.
Okay, you can see it, right? Okay. So I was saying that, so imagine I have written a text like this, right? And now this is my heading, this is one heading, this is another heading, and this is my paragraph. Now, I want all my headings to be in the middle, and I want all my headings to be color red. I also want all my paragraphs to be, I want my paragraphs to remain like this, but I want them to be green. So what am I going to do? Instead of going to say, oh, I want H1 because this is a heading here. I want H1 to be red and center, just like I taught you guys here. Okay, so was just like we used a selector here that, oh, I want P to be text align. Instead of writing it every minute, we use classes. Now, the first class is class center, and I said this center here says you want the text to be text aligned and the color should be red. We'll go outside. The color should be red. Do you understand? So we've already applied the class here. Now let me apply it in others because H2 is also a heading, H3 is also a heading. So let me apply that class here.
Mom,
Yes,
when are we having a break?
very soon. So class is equal to class is equal to center. No, let me put it here. Let me run this now. So you see, my H2 has already changed to being in the middle and is red. I also want this second heading here, which is a H3, to be the same. So let me put that class is equal to center. Sorry. Center. Right? Let me run that too. See, it is now like this. Let me this one. So it is now like this. Now I want all my paragraphs right up to be green. Or yes, I want all my paragraphs right up to be green. So I can just go here and say, okay, I want, what class do I want to give it? I want, let me give it the class of paragraph. Now for classes, you know, for ID, we use the pound sign, but for classes, you will use full stop. It's full stop you will use. You can see it here. Let me expand it. You can see it here, full stop, then the name of the class. So the class I want to use for paragraph is, green. So I'm going to put, what name am I going to give that class? I'm going to give that class paragraph. Let me call it paragraph. That's just the name I want to give it. What am I writing? Paragraph, right? I use my curly brackets and then I write the color. I want the color to be green. And then I close the paragraph. Sorry, I close the bracket. So I will just come to my paragraph and then put class is equal to paragraph, because that's the name of the class I chose. Paragraph, right? If I do this for the first one, just look at, see, it turns green. The second one, I have not put it there, so it won't turn green, but let me go and put it now and to turn green. Class is equals to, who is making that sound? Paragraph. Oh, sorry. Class is equals to paragraph. So if I run this, it becomes green automatically. So you see how we use CSS to style it? How you just went from a normal blank page. Look at it before we put CSS. Let me remove the style. Just look at it before we kept CSS. Let me remove the style. Oh, sorry. Let me remove the style. See now, there is no style here. There is no style. Just normal, just pure CSS. There's no style. So if I run this, it's just going to be like this. But CSS will help us add styles and add designs and all of that. Now there is CSS.
Ma,
Yes.
you put class center, but it's not in the center.
What's that? Which one?
H2.
Okay, when I remove the styles, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it won't work because there is nothing. You didn't give the CSS, you didn't give it any CSS. So even if you put classes there or you put ID, the browser is just going to ignore it because the browser is going to check, oh, is there a style? Are there style options for this thing that you have put there? Because there are no style options, the browser is just going to ignore it. It's not going to do anything.
Okay, Ma, I have another question.
All right.
Can you put it in the center without putting the stuff?
Can you what? Can you what?
Put it in the center
Without
putting class.
Without putting class. Yes, there are lots of ways to put it in the center without putting class. I mean, you can decide that, okay, but that one always, okay, let me try and show you guys. Where is it? That will take a longer time. Why? Because there's a lot of things to write, and that's why CSS is better. And that's why they say CSS is still a problem. Now, if I want to do it without having to write a CSS, without writing CSS element, I will have to say, okay, H2, I want this to be text align. Text align. right? I hope this is working. Test the line is equal to center. See if this will work first. Hold on, sorry, let me check. Oh, I don't even have that file here. Sorry, I'm coming. I'll show you the other way to do it. I just have to remember the syntax. I'm coming. Can I help you? Okay. So, like I said, because I can't remember the syntax, there are a lot of things when you're doing programming. There are a lot of things that you cannot save in your head. So you just have to go and find. You can always check online. Or for me now, I want to check my work, the work I do. Okay, so here.
What?
Hold on, I'm coming.
No,
But this is CSS.
Now get out. What's your business with it? Just like putting that.
Oh, I think that will always only work with Bootstrap. Stop it. I'm coming EX. I'm trying to find the way I did it before. I think this is, oh. I don't know. Let me see. This is what. What are you doing? Text center. So no, but there are certain CSS that would work without writing a CSS block for it. To be honest, I can't remember the syntax now. Before the end of the class, maybe I'll remember and I'll show you. But for now, if you're going to write, I know that if I was using Bootstrap, there's an application called Bootstrap, but that is very advanced. If I was using Bootstrap, I know I can use text and line and all those without writing, just like the way I did it here. This place that I just wrote P, text center, and all of that. But here I'm using Bootstrap, that's why it worked.
Okay.
Do you get?
Ma,
Yes.
so my computer off. I had to rejoin again.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So it's better to write it like that. Do you get now? It's when you get to the advanced level, when you have learned CSS very well, you will not learn about Bootstrap and you'll be writing CSS without necessarily writing the heavy style elements. So I think we have done class.
Can we have a break?
No, not yet. After we finish this page.
We have
So-
already.
No.
Mm.
You mean if you disturb my class, I'll report you to director. All right. So always remember that you have to put a full stop behind center. So the next one we're going to look at is sorry, I'm trying to understand what they're writing. What are you doing? Sorry, give me a moment. Okay, I'm back. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. HTML elements can also refer to more than one class. Okay, let us see how this works. I've done this one. Okay, this one. So they're saying HTML can also be affected by more than one class. H1 class center, this will not be affected. Okay, so sometimes maybe you already have a class that you want to do already. Like this is a class. Let me use this one. I just finished. Let me put my CSS block back. So let's assume that you already have a paragraph and you already have a class that you want to use already. So the class you want to use is text align center and the color is red. That's the style you want to use, right? Yes. But for instance, you don't want all your okay, let me run this again. Did I remove it from H2? Yes, I removed it from H2. So I kept class is equal to center. Okay, so it's like that. Okay. So maybe something happened and then maybe I gave you an assignment and then I said, oh, okay, so I don't want, this is H1, this is H3 here. Here is H2, here is H2, and here is H3. Now, for instance, maybe you don't want your H2. Let me put another H2 here. Let me put another H3 here. Copy. I'm just going to paste the same thing again. Okay. So now you have different headings. Now this is H2, this is H3, and this is H3. Now, for instance, maybe you don't want your H2 to be text aligned and centered. You don't want the bigger heading to be at the center, but you want other small headings to be at the center, just like here. Like I said, this is H2, H3, and H3. So what you now do to remove H2 from there, to make sure that H2 is not part of the center, most times, you would have written, imagine if you have written this block of text that you have here, maybe you have written it like in 50, or let's say you have written it like 100 times. So you have hundreds of H2, or you have maybe you have like 200 H2s, or you have 100 H2s and 100 H3s. You know, that's a lot. And maybe if you're working for a client and you're building a website and the client now says, oh, I don't want all these H2s to look like this anymore. I just want these H2s to be black. I don't want them to look like this anymore. So just leave only the H3s. Before you go back and start trying to change that means you have to go back and start removing class center from all the H2s. You have to start removing this class from all the H2s. It's going to take a while. It is going to take a while. So somehow the best way to do this, one of the best way to do this, you can just come. How they do it here? Okay, fine. You can just come and say, okay, you want only H3 to be centered. So you add your H3 at the back of full stop center, H3, sorry. You add H3 to the back of your full stop center. So what that tells the browser that, okay, only H3 should take all these properties, this styling. H1 and H2 should not have this styling. So let me run that. You can see it will remove all the H3 from that styling. You remove all the H3 for that styling. I mean, because we don't have a lot of text right here, I can just come out and say, okay, let me delete this. But imagine if you're on a website like W3 School that has lots and lots and lots and lots of pages. You can see there are a lot of pages on this side, so many pages. Before you say you want to start changing the H2 or the H1, every single page must have an H1. Know that every single page. Before you now say you want to go and change everything here in CSS, then you go to the one. If you click on HTML, HTML has its own many items here. If you click on JavaScript, that's a long time. That's a long time. So the shortcut to it is that you just get your selectors. Where is it? Yeah. So you just get your selectors and choose. Did I close it? I think I accidentally. Okay, it's here. So you just choose which one you want the class to carry. You know, you're like, okay, so I want only H3 to have this class. So let me just put it like this, H3. And then you cannot create a different class for H2. Maybe your client, or maybe you want to make all your H2s, maybe you want to make them blue and left aligned, because this left. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So that is it. Let's assume I want my H2. I want all my H2s to be, this right here is left aligned, but I want it to be blue. I don't want it to be green. So I can come here and say, maybe I want to give it another class name. Oh, you have to give that one another class name, so that won't even work. But yes, this is how you do it. Oh, let me see if it will work. Let me not come and act like it won't work. Let me see let me just say H2 center. Maybe I want to make it text align left. Text align. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. Okay, so as I was saying, let me try. Where is it? Okay, H2 text align. I don't think I've ever tried this before, but let me try it. No, I want it to be left. And I want it to be color. I want the color. Oh, I didn't put semicolon here. I want this to be color green, right? I'm just trying to see if this will work. Oh, it actually worked. So like I said, maybe they've asked you that, oh, I don't want all my H3 to be red anymore. I want to change it to this color. I have already put classes here. As you can see, there's already classes. And so instead of, no. So instead of, sorry, hold on. So instead of going back and changing everything at once, you can just say, okay, you can choose specific elements and assign a class to them and then design that class here. Do you guys get? You can see it's the same class. This is center, but for the H3, I want the center to be, I want it to be center and red. Do you understand? But for the H2, I want it to be left aligned and green. They all have the same classes. They all have the same classes. but different style for different elements. So if you want to style different elements, if you want to style elements differently, you have to make it known here. So I hope you guys understand that. It's a bit CSS can be a bit confusing, but the more you continue to practice it, the more you get better at it. Do you guys understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's that about that.
Yes, ma.
So you can also use two different classes for one element. Just like you can use, we just used one class for two different elements. We used one class for H2, we use that same class for H3. Now you can have two classes and then it will be for one element. Let me show you how to do that. So let me cancel this first so that you get it clearly. So now these are two classes. Oh, sorry, the full stop must be there. These are two classes. This is a center class and this is a class called large. Do you understand? Now, the property for large is just the font size. They are just talking about the font size. What's the font size? This is okay. The font size is 300%. You can either use percent or px. You understand? Or px. Let me make this 100 px. I'll change it later. So these are two different classes. So now you have a H1 here and it's saying that the heading will not be affected. Oh, I have to do that again. Sorry. Because I didn't know what was there before. Okay, fine. So now there's a center class here that is supposed to be text aligned and read, right? But right here, the paragraph is not being affected because they did not specify it here. You can see it's only paragraph that is in this center. Let me make it bigger. It's only paragraph that is in the center. So H1, even if the class is there, H1 will not be affected. If there was no paragraph here, anything that has center will become center aligned and read. But because there is a paragraph, so that means you are selecting only the paragraph for that center, for that class, this class center. Only the paragraph will be affected. The H1 will not be affected. There is also this large class, this class of large, but it is only for the paragraph. So there's a paragraph here now that has the class for center. So it is supposed to be text aligned center and the color should be red, which is here. This paragraph will be red and centered. So this is it here. It is red and centered. Now they now kept two classes for the second paragraph. It is see the way they kept the classes. You write your first class, which is center. You put a space and then you write your large. Sorry. You write your large class. And then you put your quotation mark, you close it. You don't write it like this with the two quotation mark. No, you start with one quotation mark, write it, you leave a space, write the second one before you put your quotation mark. So this particular paragraph is going to take these two properties. It's going to be text aligned, centered, and it's also going to be as big. The font size is going to be big like this because we said we want a bigger font size and we put the two classes there. So which is why you have this one. It is not only in the center, it's in the center, it is red, but it is bigger because there are two classes there. Do you guys understand? If I make this class, if I change this to 100 px, it will still work as well. 100 px. 100 px is bigger, safe. Let me make it 50 px. Okay, so let me make it 50 px. Some developers or some programmers prefer to use px, some prefer to use percentage. So as the more you practice HTML and CSS, you figure out which one you want to use, if you want to use paragraph or PS. But like I said, you can give two classes to one element, just as you can give two classes to one element, just as you can give one element to two classes. right? This was one element to different classes, and this is one element to different classes as well. Oh, one class to different elements, one class to one element too. I'm confusing you guys, I'm so sorry. But you guys get what I'm saying here. I'm trying to make it so that you guys understand. It's a bit complicated, but I'm trying to make sure that you understand. Do you guys understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So that's that about it. A class name cannot start with a number too, just like a what's it called? An ID cannot start with a classes. So in the long run, it is better to use classes than ID. A lot of people use classes more than ID. Do you understand? You have to be writing really, really advanced code to use classes actually, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go to the next one. The universal selector. What is a universal selector? Okay. So I want to check if you guys are supposed to, okay, yes. Okay. Okay. So there is something called the universal selector. And the universal selector, where is it? The universal selector selects all the HTML on the page. It's like the master is the master of selectors, and they use you can see it here. They use this symbol when you want to write. Instead of using a class, you can see that there is no class, it's just a symbol, because this is a universal class. It will select everything. For instance, now we have a H1 here, we have paragraphs, different paragraphs here. Do you understand? And there's even an ID, but because they have already set the universal selector to text align center and the color should be blue. Yes. Yes.
When is break?
When is
After you
break?
hold on. After universal selectors, we'll do the grouping selector and then you go on break. Okay, so just you're almost there. So just hold on. This universal selector is very simple. You use this to signify that, oh, this is a universal selector. Then you put your properties and your value, and everything will become the universal selector, just like in this page here. Everything is in the center and everything is blue. That's all the universal selector is all about. Everything will become this property. Do you guys understand that?
Yes, ma.
Okay, so that's for universal. So let's do the CSS grouping, and then you guys can go for break. The grouping select all the HTML with the same style definition. Okay. Oh, it's not here. So instead of writing, you can see maybe you have a write-up already, and all of them, they have the same style. Another way, these are all different ways you can use CSS. Another way you can do this, instead of writing H1, you want H1 to be text aligned and red, H2 to be. You can also use a universal selector for this. But what if you have maybe H3 or H4 on your page and you don't want the H4 to have these properties, but you want your H1 and your H2 to have your H1, your H2, and your paragraph, you want them to have all these properties. Do you understand? But you don't want your H4 or your H5, you don't want your links, you don't want your images, you don't want all those other HTML to have this same properties. What do? You group them. And I think we did this during the table. When we did the table where you grouped TH, TR, TD, you grouped all of them and then give them a single property. It's the same thing here. It's just that this time you're selecting H1, you're selecting all the properties that you want to have this style. If I put a H3 here now, and I say this is H3, this is H3, this is, sorry, this is a heading, right? This is a heading. If I do this, H3 is not going to take this style. Well, there's no H3 here. But if I come here and I put H3, let's assume and I put H3, right? And I run it, H3 will follow suit. But if I don't put H3, H3 will not be there. Do you guys understand this? It's called grouping. Do you guys understand this? Okay, so for the sake of Iremide and those who want to go, but let's go for break. This is 2:49. Let's say 2:50 or 10:50. Sorry, my time here is saying 10:50. So we'll come back at 11 o'clock. We'll come back 11 o'clock and then we'll start again.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Mom, please stop sharing your screen.
Why? Do you have a problem with it? Why do you want me to stop sharing? I'm worried that if I stop sharing, if I want to share it again, you guys will not be seeing it. So let's leave it sharing. Charge this. Okay.
Are we on break?
Yes, we are. We're on break. I believe this.
Set the text color to red or pink.
Okay, so we should all be back in class now. Is everybody
Yeah.
there?
Yes.
All right. You're the only one that is there. If you're in class, please raise your hand. If you're in class, raise your hand. Though. Let me see how many people is raising their class. Okay, Bukumi, Inyoluwa, alright. Okay, EX, you're back. So I'm left with Dara. Dara is in here. All right. All right, thank you. You can put your hands down now. Thank you. Lower your hands. Thank you. Please lower your hand. Why is Ehun laughing? I have no idea. Lower your hands. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next page. Since we have done all this one. So you can take note of this right here so that you know. Oh, I can't share this right now. But if you can take a screenshot of this write-up so that you know what to be doing. You can take a screenshot from this write-up. If you've taken it, I want to move to the next page now. So hold on, I'm trying to set your assignments. Hello. For all H2 and H3 elements. So that is it. Okay. So we're going to learn about how to CSS. We might not be able to finish this today. Okay, let me not do this today because this is a lot and we might not be able to finish it. Instead, let me see. Okay. Because this is a very, very long topic, and so it might take a while. I don't want us to do it today. I'd rather we do it tomorrow. So let me check your curriculum. If there is nothing else I can teach you, then we'll move this to tomorrow. Because if you do it today, you probably might not get it. And I don't want to start and stop. Okay. Okay. So let me see if there's something else I can do. Okay, so I think we're going to call it a day. Let me just give you guys assignments. Okay, I've seen what I'm looking for. CSS combinators. Please, who is that? The centers. I think we're going to have to stop there. Oh, okay, we're going to have to stop there. So we're going to have to stop here. I would give you guys assignment and they will continue tomorrow. Is that okay? Because this how-to is really, I have to take my time to explain it. Right? I have to take my time to explain it. So let's not do it today. We only have 1 hour and I don't want to do half and come back tomorrow. No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So yeah, we can do it tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go now. Any questions from today's class? Any questions from today's class? Anything you want me to re-explain again? Oh, Are you sure? Okay, so let me give you guys your assignment. Let me share I accidentally stopped sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. I'm going to paste this assignment on the group chats right now. Okay, let me put H4 and H3 here. Sorry. Okay. This is H2, H3. Can you guys see your assignment? Can you take screenshot of your assignments now? Oh, let me finish before you take screenshots. Sorry. Sorry.
I cannot see it.
You can't see my screen. Can you guys see my screen at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me share it. This is why I didn't want to. Let me share it.
No.
Is everybody here on the group chat? Is everybody on the group chat? Is everybody on the group
chat?
Yes,
Is there
I'm there. I'm on
Okay,
it.
so everybody is there. If you're not there, say I'm not there. If I'm not on the group chat, say I'm not there, because that's where I'm going to be putting your assignments. Let me try sharing my screen again. Come on, please share. Share. You guys know how to get to W3 websites, right? In case you are stuck or you don't remember somewhere. Do you guys know how to find the website, or should I drop the link to the website?
Yes, drop the link to the website.
Okay, I will do that now. Let me try. I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know why it has refused to. Oh, why did I stop sharing this thing? Oh, it's because I thought I was done. So let me put it there. Okay, let me put the link to this HTML here. Just so that if you need to remember something. You guys still can't see it, right?
Ma.
No, I cannot see it.
Okay, let me start.
Ma, I see it.
But I've seen the link.
Let me write it down.
Okay. Let me share it again. All right, did you see the link? I dropped it though.
Yes,
Please
I've
let me
seen
know.
it.
Okay, so I'm trying to share my screen again. You should be able to see my screen now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your assignment. I'm going to drop it on the group chat either ways. So let me know if you've taken a screenshot. If you cannot take a screenshot, I will take a screenshot on. You guys should copy, or let me even try to see if I can copy it into the chat. So you just copy it and post it in the body of your VS Code, of your code. Post it in the body. As you can see, I kept it in between the body, the opening body tag, and you can open a new file for this assignment. Open a new file, right? And then in between your body, you can see body here. That's where I wrote all these things. So let me paste this in the chat for you guys.
Could you write this like your own?
I'll paste it for you in the chat. Don't worry. So you can copy it and paste it in your HTML. Is that okay?
Okay.
So let me paste it. Is it only Aura that is in this class?
No, I'm here too.
Okay, let me see. I hope it works well. All right, yes. So just, okay, let me do it again so it will appear nicer. Let me do it again so it will appear nicer. Okay, H1 is okay, H4 is okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This is a paragraph, this is a paragraph. Okay. 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 I think this is nicer. All right, so that's the code. Please copy it into the body of your paragraph. I will still put this on the group. So if you know you're done copying, you can go. Can I stop sharing my screen now? Have you guys tried to take a screenshot and also copy the code? Hello, are you guys there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can all, if you know, I can stop sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the code and that's the assignment. Set the text color to red for all the P elements. Oh, hey, Jesus, this is wrong. Oh. This is very wrong. Oh. This first one, please let me write this again. Let me write this again because I don't think you guys, there was a mistake somewhere. Let me write it again. So the first one is set the text color to red for all the P elements. Oh God. For all the P elements. Okay. So this last one I just put is the correct one. So please copy it. If you've copied it, you can leave the class. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye, Miss Johan. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Desubukumi. Bye, Dad.
Is this
Bye.
the correct one? Is it the one that you sent by 11:12 a.m.?
Let me check. The correct one is the one I sent by what time did you call it?
11:12 a.m.
Is that it's not even showing me. The last one, already the last one I sent is the correct one. It's not showing me a time here. But the last one, yes.
Okay.
So can I leave the meeting?
Have you copied your assignment? Have you copied it from the chat?
Yes.
Okay. So already the last one you see there that you should take, you should copy.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have you finished what I'm doing?
Chizaram is not in class.
Yeah.
See, Chizaram isn't here. Okay.
should we do after we have copied it? Yeah.
In your lower, make me the host. In your lower, make me the host. In your lower.
Okay.